Hello, everyone, and welcome to our customer showcase. My name is Kate Taylor. I lead customer experience here at Notion. We like to think of our team as the front door of Notion. When you come in, our job is to make you feel welcome in our home. So today, welcome to our living room. We're excited to have 4 Notion customers across Europe demo how they're using Notion to power their business. I'd love to introduce everyone, and then let's get into it. So first up, we have Luke Richardson from Pleo. Welcome, Luke.
Hey, Kate.
Pleo aims to be the spending solution for teams. Think smart cards, automated expensing, and invoice management. Luke is based in Copenhagen and leads brand and comms. His goal is to spread the word about Pleo and turn our customers into advocates. So welcome, Luke.
Very happy to be here.
Next up from Munich, we have Christoph Deckert from Personio. Welcome, Christoph.
Hi, Kate.
It's good to see you. Personio is an HR solution that simplifies time-consuming processes to allow for more strategic topics. They've got over 700 employees, and their goal is to be the leading HR platform in Europe. Christoph runs customer growth, focused on expanding their customer base and preventing churn. So welcome, Christoph. Excited to hop in today.
Thanks for having me.
And next up, we have Jen Lambourne from Monzo joining us from London. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Kate.
It's good to see you. Monzo started in 2015 to build the best bank account in the world. They now have over 5 million people using Monzo. Jen's their knowledge management lead, where she looks after all of their systems like Notion and all of the documentation. Welcome, Jen, and we're excited to have you today.
Excited to be here. Thanks, Kate.
And finally, we have Gregoire Martinez from Station F. Station F is the world's largest startup campus based in Paris. It's great to have you, Gregoire.
Hi, Kate. Great to be here.
You guys have over 1,000 startups, which is crazy,
Yeah.
and 30 incubation programs. And Gregoire runs community and communications, and we're excited to hop in and learn more about Station F today.
Yeah, glad to be there.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. We're excited to get to know each speaker and learn more about their company and challenges and how they're using Notion. So let's jump into it. First, we're going to start with Luke. So Luke, tell us a little bit more about the challenges your team has been facing and kind of where Notion has been popping in there.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we use Notion across the board, wall to wall within the business. We're 330 people now, and everyone from marketing teams, sales teams, CS teams, operations. We're using Notion as sort of the single source of truth for all of our documentation, all of our projects, all of our sort of status meetings, and so on. So it's really replacing many, many different services for us within our business. And it's also, quite delightful to use as well. So I think we kind of enjoy doing it too.
That's awesome. And when you say kind of replacing a lot of systems, do you feel like that's where it's been driving the most impact? Or like, where did you kind of feel that immediate sense of relief when you started using Notion?
Yeah, I think it was the sort of clarity that we were able to have around everything. It's a system is only as good as you use it, or like your ambition to use it. And for us, it really stepped up our game with like naming conventions on things like files and tagging of different assets and so on. And because everything was so immediately intuitive within the system, it was just very easy for everybody to kind of get on board with that. You didn't need to have, Notion pages to explain Notion pages. It was very seamless.
It'd actually be awesome if you could hop in and show us a little bit more of that in practice. So if you could pull up a Notion page and kind of describe it a little bit more to us, that'd be really helpful.
Sure, let's do it. So as you said at the start, I'm in the brand and communications team, leading that as part of marketing. But here you'll see one of our like primary circles, we call them within the business, and that's GTM, go-to-market, which marketing is part of. So here you've got like just a rough overview of what our sort of goals are for the quarter, and then you can jump into those teams. So let's jump into marketing and then the brand and comms team. So this is my baby. This is what I spend most of my waking day working on, right? And here you kind of see everything that we could be working on at any given time. And within our team, we've got a mixture of designers, videographers, content writers, product marketers, and so on. So there's lots of really great stuff going on here. We also sort of see our team as a service within the organization. So anyone from any one of those teams that we have can come to this page and outline a request for a project that they may have. It could be, new collateral. It could be something for the website. It could be really anything. And that's why we have this template here. So you can create a quick task. It pre-fills with a whole bunch of different questions, which really help us dictate like what we should be prioritizing, what isn't perhaps quite so critical, and then they can hit request here. So once that, imagine that I have kind of created that request, it's logged in here, and me and my team, we look at these requests that come through. Typically, we get maybe 2 to 3 to 4 every day. At the end of the week, we have a sprint plan. We kind of assess what we should be working on. And once we've kind of figured out the key aspects, we bring them into here. So this is our like kind of typical Kanban board, looking at, you know, what we're on track for, what we should be prioritizing, and what we shouldn't be necessarily for that week. Localization is a big part of this as well, right? And anyone like within my role knows like the pain points that you can have to kind of make that make sense in different markets, particularly when you're talking about like brand experience. So we try to catalog that within the system as well. And then, of course, eventually you'll see like the assets as they've been kind of created here. Then if we kind of go back a page, you'll see a few other cool things that we've been working on. So that's like the active project board. Then we also have the assets, where you'll find, you know, anyone within the company, they don't need to necessarily create a new request for us. We may have something for them already. So if, for example, they've got a new pitch deck that they're creating, they can jump into our illustrations catalog and get a sense of all of the different assets that they can pull, of course, being tagged correctly so that, you know, they can search for a query like calculator and they'll have something for it.
Luke,
Then
question
just jump.
about that, actually.
Sure, yeah.
Just wondering, like, how was that done before? Like, I mean, this feels like a pretty streamlined workflow. I'm curious, previously, how would teams have interacted with you before, and what makes this better for your team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we use Slack for kind of day-to-day communication, which is super useful for that use case. However, it's quite difficult to kind of have again, that single source of truth or context for a project, the status of it, and so on. So that was really where we were spending a lot of our time, or we would be like burrowed down into different Google Drive folders and trying to find something. But it was very difficult to kind of get what you needed. So that's really where it's been amazing for us. Like we've been able to, you know, everything except for, you know, the designing of those illustrations is going on in Notion, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah. And then one last thing we have, like within our product marketing team, we are surveying our customers all the time, trying to see how we can get better and also how we can perhaps improve our product with introducing new features and so on. So we create what's called Pleo Insights, where you'll be able to also within the organization, let's say your one of your product teams will be able to come in and request a survey to be conducted with a certain team, like who it should be going with and so on. Very similar workflow to what we had within the sort of brand studio project board. And then, of course, we're cataloging all of that good stuff here, where people can just jump in. And again, everybody has access to Notion, so it's like very intuitive to be able to find this stuff.
That's great. Well, thanks for taking us on a quick tour of your space. And any last thoughts you want to share with folks on what's made your workspace successful, or any like quick tips for people?
Yeah, what to say? I mean, for me, at this point, it's kind of baffling that people aren't using Notion for these kind of use cases. It's sort of been it's been super useful also during the kind of tough year and a half or so that everybody has had, because to have that documentation in place, at least for someone like me who really likes to have that sense of order, it's been giving me and the rest of the team some real peace of mind. So I encourage everybody to go out there and give it a try.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Luke. Next up, we're going to talk to Christoph. Christoph, welcome. We're excited to see your workspace a little bit.
Sure, yes. Excited too.
Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the challenges that your team was facing and kind of why you guys initially started to look at Notion?
Sure. I mean, today we use Notion across kind of the entire company with different use cases. We're almost 800 employees, and we've seen a lot of challenges in the past using this different tools for, let's say, team meetings or also project planning, which I will share in a second. And like in the past, when we used, for instance, Google Docs or Google Sheets, Confluence, Jira, for instance, we've seen like slow loading times or like not a clear overview on the structure. Also, when it comes to like accessibility via phones, and Notion really helped us to like do so. Also, when it comes to like the hypergrowth and the scaling with the company, as we've within the last 4 years have grown now to 800 employees, and it's very important and necessary for us to like have a smooth collaboration. And happy to jump into team meetings and project management in a second to explain a bit more how we're doing it at Personio.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like you've had quite a few tools that you were consolidating as well. So excited to see some of that process, specifically around project management and how Notion has streamlined that. Do you mind hopping in and showing us a little bit more about the workspace and some of the processes that you all are using?
Sure. Let's jump into that. What you can see here on my screen is one of our templates. It's not live data actually, but sample ones. But you can see here one of our bi-weekly meeting templates. We're using that for team meetings, but also for individual one-on-ones. And first and foremost, on the top, you can see like a typical Kanban board where you can see your open tasks, which are, let's say, not started yet or in progress or might also be completed. And it's very simple, let's say, to derive from the agenda certain tasks and just put it here in progress, and then enter certain information: who should be the assignee of that task, what is a potential due date, maybe next week Friday, and also some of the goals. And it's very simple really to like actually work in such a weekly template, and also to walk through the different tasks. Secondly, it's so nice to be able to have a recurring agenda and just click on the plus button if you want to change that. Also here, it's so simple for us to do so. But going into one of the different agendas where you can see, for instance, the topic, who's going to report that, what is the actual goal of the topic we want to discuss, and what is the priority. This is, for instance, how we're going to, we use the team meetings, but also the individuals at Personio, which is like, giving us more time to really focus on the relevant topics during the one-on-ones and to have a smooth collaboration. As for instance, you can also share like certain those kind of cards with other employees at the company, and just like directly link to what you want to refer to. And in those cards, you can of course also enter whatever you want to do, or say just, for instance, at Christoph, could you please take care of X, Y, Z, which is very nice. That is how we are structuring our team meetings and individual ones. I mean, like there obviously a lot more to do, but like the actual setup of such a meeting is so simple. Now quickly coming to talk about the project planning. As in the past, I've mentioned it already before, we've done project planning in, I think, 4 or 5 different tools, from Google Sheets, where we come up with the timetable, Confluence for the documentation, Jira for like the ticketing system, and then Google Documents for certain notes. And now we have everything in one single tool, which is actually super nice for us internally, as we always know what is the single source actually, and secondly, as it's so intuitive and simple to work with. And first and foremost, you can have some like high level information about the strategy and the goal of the project, some, let's say, simple template about the RACI, who's responsible and accountable for certain tasks, and then thirdly, a very simple table actually about what is going to happen over the next weeks and month. And if we want to see that in a timeline, we can just simply change that and see what is going to come over the next weeks. We can again click and go one level deeper into one of the different tasks and see what might be on additional information and notes in those tasks. And as said in the past, it was very, let's say, hard for us to aggregate all those different information in the different toolings, and also to kind of like integrate those. And for that reason, so nice to now have one single tool where we can all access and all work and collaborate together. And I think at Personio, from OKR planning to new projects, when we roll out processes, the entire product roadmap in our P&E department is managed via Notion. I think in the past we've used 4 different tools, and we've tried with like each and single of them. And today we found that Notion is the one. And today quite happy with that.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. It also sounds like collaboration across different people and making sure they're getting access to everything. It sounds like that it looks very streamlined. I'm pretty impressed actually personally of like how you've set it up and great tips around project management. How has it been for folks just hopping in and starting to use Notion and work in this new kind of workflow?
Yeah, as like, let's say Notion is like super simple to use and very intuitive. For that reason, like even if you haven't used Notion in the past, you can get used to Notion in like just a couple of minutes, let's say. And for that reason, it's very simple for also new joiners, and we are still growing a lot. So every month there are coming new people to Personio and trying to get familiar with our processes and workflows within Notion. And for that reason, it's very nice to set up everything in Notion, as you don't need to like be a fully fledged expert.
That's great. Any last tips or tricks for folks who might be consolidating systems as they think about Notion?
Good question. I mean, go and get Notion, as I'm actually a fan of Notion. And I mean, we've tried and talked a lot about the benefits, and we've tried a lot of different tools in the past, but I think Notion is the future for especially project planning and notes and team meetings. And for that reason, try it out. Also using it for some personal stuff, for instance, shopping lists, book recommendations, but also my wedding page. For that reason, super happy to be able to use Notion.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Next up, we're going to talk to Jen. Christoph, thank you so much for your time. Jen, tell us a little bit about Monzo. We'd love to learn about the team and how you guys are using Notion today.
Yeah, sure thing. So much like the others on this call, we're kind of using Notion for pretty much everything across the business. We used to be in a place a couple of years ago where we had lots of different systems, lots of different places to go and find information, and we were growing exceedingly fast. So that made it really hard when someone joined the company to know where to look for something. Notion, like I think Luke referred to earlier, provides that single source of truth. It's a starting point into the rest of the business to go and find out all this information. And so it's been great and it's been fun to use. Now all of our teams are using it, have a lot of autonomy in how they use it as well. So it's kind of increased the amount of collaboration that we have between our teams and others. So we were already quite a distributed team, kind of very remote friendly anyway. And then the pandemic hit, the world got a little bit mad. But actually kind of transitioning to that new way of working was incredibly smooth, in large part because we already had Notion up and running. And so when many other companies are sort of battling with this new way of working and moving to asynchronous working and documentation and that becoming increasingly important, we didn't really feel that pain because we already had stuff up and running, which was great. And it integrates well with Slack and various other tools that we're already using. So yeah, we were in a much better position than perhaps some others. It's been a tough year, but Notion's definitely made it easier.
That's great to hear. And I'm guessing in your role, you've come across a variety of different systems in the past. So I'd love to hear and actually see a little bit more about how you're using Notion and preview that for the audience. And then we can hop in and just learn more. So feel free to just pull up your page and let's dive into it.
Sure, yeah, let's do it. Okay, so some of those kind of, as we've been chatting through, have kind of shown you an example of how they're using it across the business. This one's a kind of a little bit of a smaller example. So I wanted to give you a bit of a flavor about how individual teams are using it. So as I said, we have a lot of different product teams kind of scattered across the business. What's really important to us is those are multidisciplinary teams. So in one of those product squads, you would see designers working alongside engineers, working alongside user researchers or product managers. And within those teams, there's obviously a very healthy amount of collaboration. But sometimes those teams also need to be able to collaborate with other teams across the other side of Monzo. And now in the before times, that might have been a team across the other side of the office. Now it could be someone that is based in the States or based in Spain or wherever they happen to be. And they often need to collaborate across disciplines, we call them. So a designer, say in our payments team, wants to be able to collaborate with a designer across the other side of the business working on something different, but to make sure that their design language is consistent and they're all kind of working together and collaborate that way. So this is an example of what they call their design log. This is something that our design team have come up with. And they wanted to do a couple of different things with this. One, they wanted to increase that collaboration across the design discipline. And they wanted to be able to kind of record their design decisions. So when somebody was making a decision about how they were going to design a button or what something should look like over here, they wanted to make sure that another team across the other side of the business would do the same thing. They wanted to get feedback from each other on what those look like and kind of bring in those engineers, product designers, other people to kind of input on this design kind of way of thinking. Now, Monzo is a very transparent company. It really values transparency. And so we wanted to do this somewhere that was in the open. Notion, everyone has access to pretty much everything in our Notion space. And so it was the perfect tool for us to be able to pick. So they came up with this design log. So a design log is actually made up of 3 different databases. And for us, the power of Notion definitely comes from those databases. So the log database itself is here. This is an example one. Our one in real life is full of hundreds of different entries. And a log is a single record within this. So you can see here, for example, there's a design team that has flagged some design changes to the app. They can put up some screenshots, some early design decisions, put up some copy examples, which they have here. And the team can then jump in and start commenting on this. And so this could be something like someone from their project team, from an engineer saying, OK, we're going to implement this in this way. It could be another designer kind of sharing something else from the rest of the company, something else that they're working on. And it provides that single source of truth. Now, this is all nice and very fun, but really the actual power of Notion comes from these additional properties that we have up here. So you can see here, there's just a couple of properties. So we've got last edited time, who it was created by. And in the real version that we have, we also tie these to design projects and to design teams. And so what that means is we can tie these databases together. And so it means that if somebody, say, in the payment squad navigates to their team page, and then you can see a filtered view of this database that shows them only the design decisions that relate to the payments work that they are doing. And this is really powerful. It means that we don't have to update documentation in multiple places. As a knowledge management lead, there's nothing that makes me more unhappy than having to keep multiple copies of things around. Being able to kind of update that content in one place and having that reflected across the board is super, super powerful. And so that payments team never has to worry about going digging for anything else. They can have the only information that's relevant to them available on their team page while it's still maintained in this central source of truth here. And for the wider design discipline, it means that they can keep an eye on recent updates. There's various different filters and things like this that we apply. And we take this one database with various other databases attached to it. We slice and dice them and just kind of expose them in various different places in Notion. That really kind of helps us realize the power of this. Now, this is really important because docs are really highly valued at Monzo. It's why they have someone like me whose whole job is to talk about knowledge management and improve how we handle documentation. And Monzo kind of really values that. It's reflected in our progression frameworks and various other bits and bobs. So contributing to the design log is really important. And overall, just contributing to anything in Notion is really valued and really nice to have. So the design team have spent some time to put together some design guidelines and make sure that everyone knows how they can contribute and also reward the contribution there. So the design team took the time to design a little logo for the design log. And actually, if you contribute, you now get a small badge in the post with a handwritten letter from the design team thanking you for your contribution. And overall, what this means is that everyone is kind of valued for their documentation input that they have. And it's really kind of improved how we handle docs like this and team collaboration across Monzo.
That's amazing. It sounds like, too, with such a distributed team and people in different roles kind of all over, that consolidated view for everyone has made such a big difference. And I'm sure in your role, getting that win is also pretty helpful for the business. So that's exciting to hear. Any last thoughts before we head over to Gregoire?
As I was just hinting there, I think the real power of databases, or power of Notion, is really in the databases. So I wouldn't be shy about it. Kind of dive in, just kind of get going. Before we kind of adopted it for the business, I was using it personally. A lot like Christoph, I did my wedding planning, I do holiday planning, I do my houseboying, anything else I happen to be doing, I do in Notion, and I do it all with databases. So I wouldn't be afraid. I'd head into Get Meta now. I love documentation. Notion's documentation is pretty good. So I'd head into the documentation, get comfortable with databases, and then you'll really see the power of what Notion can do.
Amazing. Jen, thank you so much for your time and for letting us see what you all are up to. Next up, we'll talk to Gregoire. Gregoire, welcome, and thank you for your time. We're excited to hear about Station F.
Yeah. So unlike the other, we are quite a small team because we only are 40 people to manage Station F. But Notion is very powerful and useful for us because it's definitely been a really important tool to organize the knowledge and everything in the team. So it's really important for us.
That's great. Maybe tell me a little bit more about kind of the workflows that you have in Notion today, and how the team is starting to use it. We'd love to also see the workspace as well.
Yeah. So basically, this is like. First, we use it as an internal wiki. So this is the homepage for the companies that all employees can see. We have a tab here with every new announcement regarding the team, the project we're working on, etc. You have the roadmap. You have, of course, the project's calendars. very important thing on our mission, vision, values, etc. And we have a thing that is very useful that we didn't notice at the beginning, which is the employee directory. Everyone here is here. And for example, if we take this one, so you have the team the person is working for, you have his title, email, phone number, when you join the company, birthday, LinkedIn, etc. If you want to organize a drink or dinner, you have also food allergies and alcohol preference, and you have a short bio, so you can know everyone. And it's really powerful when you have new people joining the company, because you can just explore this directory and know everyone really quickly. So that's very, very, very useful for us. And another use that we have for Notion, which is more an external one. It's what we call the event kit. So basically at Station F, on top of offering a lot of resources to startup, we are hosting and organizing a lot of events, more than 600 per year. And so we've developed this event kit with all the details on our venues. So we have a brand new TV studio. We have small rooms to do workshops or small conference. We have a massive amphitheater with more than 350 seats. You have really different event spaces, and this is for people outside of Station F. They can know everything. They have a map of the campus. They have details on how to host an event with the COVID-19 restrictions, etc. The service providers, everything, and you really have everything in this event kit, plus an FAQ to answer all the questions you might have.
That's great. And when shifting these workflows and the event kit, your sort of homepage wiki for the company into Notion, what did you feel like were kind of the biggest gains from that, or where did you guys see the most benefit for the teams?
So basically, as I mentioned, we're a small team and we add informations on many different tools, many different places. And Notion is really useful because we can have everything at the same place. And also, we've really, at the beginning, when we started using Notion, we've promoted some users to the team, but we've also tell them that they should try new things, find the best way to use it on their own. And so we've for example, the event kit was not planned at the beginning, and someone from the events team just come and say, okay, I think we can use Notion for that. And I think this is really powerful.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Any kind of last thoughts or things you want to share with the group before we head back?
I think something we didn't mention, but some of the other speakers mentioned, is also for project management. We use Notion for project management, and it's really useful.
That's great. Tell me more, like just quickly on project management for you all. What are some of like the main like ways or workflows that have shifted into Notion? Would be curious to hear just a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically we create one dedicated page per project for big projects, where you have the goal of the project, the team working on the project, also meeting notes. So if you join the project after it begins, you can review everything and know everything that has been discussed before. And you also have a timeline, so you can see the next steps, etc. And this is really powerful.
That's great. It sounds like Notion's really become more of like a home base for the company. I'm excited for you all as you continue to grow this year.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Gregoire, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. That was all 4 of our favorite customers. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's amazing to hear how Notion is propelling all of their businesses forward. We loved seeing the workspaces. And we're excited for the journey ahead with all of you. For us, our customers are building blocks. And we really, really thank everyone today for their time.